Good evening, everyone. We'd like to call this meeting to order of the Nicholas County Board of Education. Today is Monday, November 6, 2023. And at this time, we'd like to stand for a moment of silent reflection. And please remember, one of our bus drivers, his son was killed in an accident Saturday. Jeff and Nicole Dudley. He's a pastor at Richwood, and he's also one of our bus drivers. So remember him, please. Thank you. Please join the board with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, approval of the agenda. Any changes to the agenda? Okay. Number 4, approval of the minutes on September 18th, October 2nd, October 12th, and October 16th. And just for your all's information, the reason those are backed up a little bit is because our secretary was working on the certified list, which is due by 1st October. So she was tied up with all that, so that's why those are behind a little bit. But anyway, they're caught up. Any corrections to any of those minutes?
I didn't see anything, so I'll make a motion that we accept those.
Okay.
Unless somebody else thought something, I didn't see anything.
Okay, Mr. Moose makes a motion to accept the minutes from September 18th, October 2nd, 12th, and 16th. Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Ferguson. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have a student representative, Savannah Moose, and I believe she's going to be assisted by Bailey Jarrett. Is that correct? Go ahead, Philip.
Good evening. I'm Savannah Moose. I'm the senior class president at Richwood High School. First, we'd like to talk about Richwood Lumberjack Express was chosen to perform at the U.S. Capitol tree lighting ceremony in Washington, D.C. on November 28th. The Lumberjack Express last received this honor in 1976 when the last tree from the Monongahela National Forest was selected for the ceremony. The band also received the West Virginia Show Band Champion at the West Virginia Marching Band Invitational at Philip Barber High School. They also received first place dance, first place majorettes, and second place featured twirler at the Tri-State Marching Band Festival held at Marshall University.
The Student Council and National Honor Society will be doing Shop with the Lumberjack. For every $100 raised, one student from Golly River Elementary, Cherry River Elementary, or Panther Creek Elementary get to shop Christmas gifts for their family. Students spend $60 on gifts for their family and $40 on gifts for themselves. Student Council will also be doing a Veterans Day Assembly on Thursday, November 9th at St. Luke's for Richwood Middle School and Richwood High School. Shout out to Ms. Gillespie for all of her work in planning, and to the teachers at Richwood High School for incorporating lessons pertaining to Veterans Day.
Our Raise group attended the Youth Summit at the Clay Center in early October. We learned strategies and activities to bring awareness on the detrimental health effects from tobacco and vape products. Raise members at Richwood will also be making Christmas ornaments to put on the West Virginia Capitol's Christmas tree. Also, Bailey Jarrett and Sophie Mullins qualified and competed at the state cross-country meet. Bailey placed 34th.
Our cheerleaders competed at the regional competition on Saturday. They placed second and will be going to states. Senior night was Friday. It was great to recognize all of our football, cheer, band, and cross-country and golf athletes at the final football game. To end a great evening, the football team brought home a win. That's all we have. Thank you.
Thank you all. So in case you have been following things, every week we have or every meeting, we have a different high school or VOTEC that updates us on what's going on at their school. Okay, superintendent's information. Mr. Bean.
Well, I have discovered that the key to having quiet classrooms is to bring the parents with the kids. I recommend we continue doing it. But it's always good to have an evening where you get to recognize a lot of students. You know, too often we have to deal with the negative part of dealing with students, but it's always good to do the positive things. So we're really happy to see as many people out tonight as we have. As far as my updates, I always start with the construction updates on where we are with that. We had a meeting today. We have one every Monday with our contract, our construction managers. So they kind of update us where we are with both the Richwood and the Glade Creek sites. This Wednesday, Mr. Prine and I will be traveling to Charleston for the state board meeting to ask permission to change our CEFP. Now, our CEFP is a facilities plan that every county is required to do every 10 years. And when you do that, you know, it's hard to predict what's going to happen 10 years from now. So a committee comes together, they design a plan on what needs to be fixed in our schools facility-wise, you know, every 10 years. Well, you have to, when you go to the SBA or anybody else for money to repair any of those buildings, you have to do it in the order that you list the priorities of your buildings. So if you have a project you want to fund that is not at the top of your list, you have to amend your CEFP. And before you can't just arbitrarily do that. You have to go through the procedures and formats and all this, fill it out, go to the state board, ask them permission to allow you to change the order of your priorities, and that's what we're doing. So we'll be doing that on Wednesday. I think it's pretty much a formality that they will approve it. I've already seen the state board agenda, and it shows that they recommend it be approved, so I don't foresee an issue with that. But then after that, we have to then have the school building authority, who is helping fund our project, to approve the CEFP also. Well, they wanted to do it the same day as the state board, but they couldn't get a meeting together that quickly. So they're going to do theirs actually the following Monday and approve the CEFP at that time. After that's over, then, many of you have probably been following this, the decision the board came up with was to, of course, build one pre-K 8 school. And FEMA gave us a list, gave us a choice of, we had 3 choices that we submitted to them. They told us they would approve any of the 3 choices that we gave them. So we picked what we wanted to do. The board made that selection. We send it on to FEMA. FEMA still has to put their rubber stamp on it before we can actually start, you know, getting contractors together, putting out bids to build the new school. We have to wait on FEMA. The other thing is if FEMA comes back and says, well, we will approve your plan, but you got to do this, you got to do that. If that happens, then we have to go back to the state board again, change our CEFP again to meet those qualifications, because FEMA's the one who's got the money. They're the ones paying for this project. So it's a kind of a tedious process, but hopefully our hopes are that FEMA will rubber stamp this request. The SBA and the state board will approve our request to change our CEFP, and then very, very quickly after that, we can start meeting with our architects to start working on contracts and designing what this facility would look like. And of course, when that happens, we'll share all that with the public. But that's my construction update. Now, several other things I need to touch on. First of all, we had an auction scheduled to auction off a very small piece of property on Ward Road, and we had to cancel that auction. because there was some conflict, there's controversy over exactly what piece of property. You have to understand, these properties are really hard to find. The surveyors have a hard time determining exactly where that piece of property was. So rather than auction off something we wasn't sure exactly where it was located, they don't even know exactly where it was located, we canceled that auction. We don't know if we'll have to reschedule the auction or have an auction at all, but we'll at some point we'll have to do something with that property. As mentioned earlier by the girls a little while ago, St. Luke's Church on Thursday, we have a veterans ceremony going on there. I plan on attending one of those sessions, and my assistant Kelly White will be trying to attend one also. Also on Thursday, we have a program sponsored by Marshall University at our convention center here in Summersville, and it's on economic development, and it's called the Ascend program. They invited me to attend. I'll be at that at noon. Then also, Amy Robertson, who's our ALC and secondary director, and Kelly, our assistant, they'll be traveling to Montgomery to visit the Mountaineer Challenge Academy at Montgomery. There's 2 of those Mountaineer Challenge Academies located in our state now. One's in Preston County, and the other one now is in Montgomery. And we met with those folks a couple weeks ago, and they invited us down to come and see their facility and what they have to offer for students that are accepted in the Mountaineer Challenge. Also, I attended a meeting of the retired Nicholas County employees at Richwood 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I was talking with them, and they had never held any of their meetings here in this office. And I asked them why, and he said, well, they've never been invited, so I invited them. So on November 17th, they're going to be here holding their monthly meeting. I think it'd be nice to see some of our retired people back in our board office and meet with us. And the last thing I have actually comes a little bit later in the agenda. It's something Mr. Ferguson usually does, but he asked me if I would do this for him because he wasn't able to attend the last SESC meeting. The SESC is a group of 12 counties that do kind of purchasing together to save money. Or we buy services like our bus driver training or our substitute teacher training or our call system. We purchase that through the SESC, and we get a kickback on that after a while. So I wanted to report that this year we'll be receiving a check for $20,154.47 for using the SESC. Next year we expect that amount to go up because the first year is a year they kind of prorated everything. Next year will be a full year of money we'll be able to collect from using those services. So anytime you can get a check for $20,000. And the last thing they talked about in the SESC report was a lot of counties are doing sports media rights where we have, the radio does our ball games and things like that, and they have different setups to where you can actually benefit financially by using the SESC to do your sports rights. So we're going to invite them to come to a board meeting in the future and sit down and explain to the board exactly how that works and what we have to do to become part of that, hopefully for the 24-25 school year. And that's all I have.
All right, number 7, delegations. Ms. Kim, do we have any? Okay, thank you. Number 8, discussion presentation, above and beyond award for Lori Nutter from Mount Lookout Elementary School.
Good evening. The Above and Beyond Award is something that we wanted to start because our schools cannot function without our volunteers. So we wanted to start recognizing all the great things that the community and volunteers do in our school. So our first nomination is to Lori Nutter. And Ms. Duffy, can you share some information, please?
I got started working with Lori a couple years ago. Her son Evan was at the school, and it's been great. First of all, she started with our Read Aloud program, which is going wonderfully there. But in addition to just coming in and reading a book and discussing with the kids, she always took it one step further. With everything that she does is one step further. And she built terrariums with the kids based on some gardening books that they were doing. She started a gardening thing with our kids where they planted seeds, watched them grow, they harvested them. She donated a greenhouse that we set in our cafeteria by the windows. She always is going one step further with our children. And so it's just really a blessing to have you in the building. And we just wanted to really recognize you and all your efforts that you do for the kids and for the staff as well. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for all that you do for our school.
Yeah, could you stand up front and get a picture of the board, please? Yes. You'll make them look a lot better.
She has a hand. I saw the camera go. She's coming to take it. Give her 1 second. She was all the way up.
What's supposed to? Just stand up this way.
Because I saw you with the camera.
Oh, you want to take, yeah, we can take some pictures.
Yeah, you gotta have a camera.
Then let me change my lens, because this one, I have to stand in the back. Sorry.
Wide.
No, I was going to take pictures.
Well, hey, it'll all work out. That's like the feeling spot, right?
Their duties is assigned.
Their duties. Hey, look, you have a seat empty right there. It all works out.
Thank you. Mr. Bean, while they're up, do you want them to come around front for the kids?
Sure. We're not up.
I tried to catch them for you. You're just too fast. Yeah.
So next, we have our literature fair winners with Dr. Lee.
I've done it correctly. It should be the right order. Some kids will get two, so you pick up the yellow one, and there's a blue one right behind it. They'll get both of them. Good evening. I'm very pleased with the turnout this evening. I think this is the most we've ever had for any of our student events. Fantastic. These are the kiddos that received first place in the county literature fair on October 12th, which made them eligible to compete in the regional literature fair, which was held on Saturday, October 28th. So, all of the kiddos that are here are going to get a yellow certificate from Mr. Beam, as I call their name, for their first place award at the county. And if they went on to compete and received a first place ribbon at the regional, they'll also get a blue certificate. So you'll hear me say, this kiddo has two. So we'll have them come up, they can get their certificate and shake hands, and then we'll do them by small groups, and then Miranda, you can get a picture of them. So the first ones are class projects. We have Ronnie Porter's first grade class from Birch River Elementary. Anybody here to represent them? Okay, Jeremy Woods' second grade class at Zila Elementary. Come on down. They received that. Go right over there, he's got a paper
I
for
won't
you.
bite you.
You're going to go with that?
Go this one. Mrs. Hoover's fifth grade class from Summersville Elementary. And the next one is for Mrs. Kreitz's sixth grade class at Ridgewood Middle School. Okay, Miranda, get a quick picture and we'll move to the next group. individual projects for K2. And I'm sorry if I butchered the first name. I've tried to practice most of them today, but I'm not sure. Is it Isla Hugert or Isla? Okay. Isla Hugert from Mount Nebo. Karen Pepper from Cherry River. Oh, stay up here, we'll get your picture. Jeffrey Asbury, Summersville Elementary. Laney Boyce from Cherry River Elementary. Reese Richardson from Summersville Elementary. Eliza Skidmore, Summersville Elementary. And Harper McClung from Summersville Elementary. Okay, that's all our individual ones. Miranda, for K2, if you'll get a quick picture. Thank you. Next, we'll have individual projects for grades 3 through 5. Mallory Willis from New Life Christian Academy. Justy Hines from New Life Christian Academy. Nathan Osborne, Summersville Elementary. Has 2 certificates. I think she gets another one, Mr. Bean. Joel Eads from New Life Christian Academy. Emma Young, Mount Nebo Elementary. Also with 2. Justy, she was a couple back. Wyatt Vaughn, Summersville Elementary. Robert Neal, Zela Elementary. Sephora Bartlett with 2 from Mount Nebo Elementary. And Addison Asbury from Summersville Elementary. And Miranda can get a quick picture of this group. Squish, skinny in. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Individual projects, grades 6 through 8. Kendall Odell, New Life Christian Academy. Aiden Prophet, Summersville Middle. Garrett Gregg, New Life Christian Academy. Graciela Hickman, Summersville Middle School. Kylan Palmer, New Life Christian Academy. Leanne Tarter, Richwood Middle School. Avery Walton, Summersville Middle School. And Macy Morris, New Life Christian Academy. Awesome, that's it for that group. Okay, next one, individual projects, grades 9 through 12. Presley Laws, Nicholas County High School. Garrett Toulet, I can't say that one, Nicholas County High School. Jasmine Hobson, Nicholas County High School. Emma Minnick, New Life Christian Academy. Jake Willis, New Life Christian Academy. Jennifer Willis, New Life Christian Academy. Sophia Donano, New Life Christian Academy. And Hunter McClung, a homeschool student. And he was really looking forward to giving a speech tonight, Mr. Reed. Yeah. He's very entertaining. Hey, thank you. Projects, we have for K2, McKenna Braun and Brindley Miller. Pairs projects 3 through 5, we have Jake Morrison and Andrew Purdue from They do.
Which one is?
Buddy, if you don't know, we're in trouble. Carter Kaufman and Avery Spencer from Mount Nebo Elementary. Charlie Braun and Addie Legg from Panther Creek Elementary. Brenner Brooks and Mason Frazier from Golly River Elementary. Nathan Bays and Chase Kuiper from Glade Creek Elementary. Rodney Hamrick and Jackson Jones from Zela Elementary.
I'll give you all 4.
That's the end of that group, Maria.
Good job.
Pairs projects, grades 6 through 8, Lucas Hensley and Samuel Stahl, New Life Christian Academy. Kathleen Gregory and Phoebe Groves, Summersville Middle. Liliana Bray and Madeline Chapman. Lainey Bartlett and Hazel Dobson, Richwood Middle. Sophie Clark and Avery Tolley from Summersville Middle. Okay, that's the end of that group, Brandon. Okay, last group, Pairs Projects. Aiden Bragg and Reagan Spencer from New Life. Olivia Bandy and Lucy Morrison, Nicholas County High School. Allison Odell and Lillian Odell from New Life. And Alexia Tag and Grace Gano from New Life.
You'll be over there in the middle. Right. Decorate him up there.
Okay, that's it for that one.
Always do.
And I want a big round of applause for all of these kiddos. They've done an exceptional job. I work with the Reading Association, and I'm very proud to say there may have been 2 counties that had more projects submitted than we did, but we certainly came away with way more first places than any of the other counties. So you kids have done an exceptional job.
You're all done. Let's go home.
Please stand up.
Start getting something to eat.
Please stand.
Hang out for that too.
Stand up.
First guy, if they're not asleep now, they will.
Talk to someone. You want to talk to someone?
Yes, of course.
You want to talk to someone?
That's our job. That's great. So long. You all grew up during COVID, didn't you?
We cleaned the house there.
What he said. Since Halloween.
I have 2. I want these candies, we have one left over already. I'm gonna snack on it all.
Please do.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. And summer program update, Dr. Lee.
Very short. You already have the handout that Mrs. Groves prepared. The most important piece that you're probably most concerned about is the chart that's on the front of the page. As one of the requirements with the Department of Ed, we have to track data prior to the start of summer programming and then submit data after summer programming that compares the level of summer slide that students have. So to meet the requirement this year for what the department was asking for, we used our IXL benchmark assessments. And you'll see what she had to do was pull the 2 assessments and do a comparison and then count the number of students who either maintain or gain skills from that end of year assessment to the beginning of the year fall assessment. And you'll see, of course, percentages look really good with ELA, so keeping the kids exposed to text and reading is definitely helping. The scores in the math were not quite as high, However, with second grade, I was very pleased with seeing that that was 61%, and then, of course, with fourth grade followed by 60%, because we know that as they get into second, third, fourth grade, those skills are becoming more and more difficult. So if they slide, then it's really hard to get them caught back up. On the back, she has listed, I know last year you were wanting to know about the high school credits recovered. So in the second box down on the back, you'll see that's where she has the total of credits that were recovered either through ALC or through Richwood High School, because they did an on-site program. And then we also count the number of students who complete driver's eds because they're earning those credits for graduation. This summer programming will look a little different because the funding streams have changed since the COVID funds will be leaving. But it'll be time to get started planning that very shortly.
Dr. Lee, could you explain how you qualify for the summer program? Is it a voluntary thing, or is it?
At this time, it is completely voluntary.
Okay.
We provided, as you can tell, a multiple of options for families. We had 4 programs that were 6 weeks, and they were 5 days a week. So sometimes families need that level of care because they don't have child care. We also had at Birch River, their program was only 5 weeks. And then we had Summer Soul for middle schools in Zila, which was 4 days a week for 4 weeks. So we had some options. We also sponsored Energy Express last year at Mount Lookout, which is a 6 weeks reading-focused program.
Is anybody in the total school population eligible to go to that?
Yes.
That's great.
At times, we've had to do a wait list, but generally, if somebody is waitlisted, it's very, very short time. Because what we do is we have grants that cover a majority of this, but I'm able to supplement them with federal programs dollars. So if we see that we have a wait list to keep the staffing ratio to 12-to-1 or 15-to-1 to meet the requirements for summer programming, sometimes we have to hire an extra tutor. And once that person is located and on board, then those kids can come off the wait list.
Two of my grandkids, the transition from elementary school to middle school, that first year going to that middle school, that summer program, getting acclimated, where the school is, where the classrooms are, meeting some people, it really makes that transition a lot better. So it's a good program.
If there are no questions, that's it.
Nice handout, by the way.
Mrs. Groves pulled that together.
Oh.
She's very good at making things look pretty.
Okay, D, Nicholas County High School 2023 Champions of College Access and Success Award. Mike Williams along with, you go ahead, sir.
Mr. President, Mr. Superintendent, board members, I always like acknowledgments. Always good to see students being acknowledged for their accomplishments. I think it's very important for us to acknowledge our staff. I was fortunate enough on Wednesday, October the 11th, to accompany staff from Nicholas County High School down to Charleston, where Nicholas County High School was among the 45 high schools recognized as a 2023 Champion of College Access and Success. West Virginia Gear Up, which were a part of the Gear Up program. We're very familiar with the College for West Virginia, which coordinates 3 annual college planning milestones to help students in West Virginia plan their pathway to education or training beyond high school. High schools that successfully participate in all 3 pathway events and meet certain criteria are recognized as a CFWV Champion of College Access and Success School. And those 3 milestones are college application and exploration week, a free application for federal student aid or the FAFSA completion, and college decision day. And these milestones have specific components to help students in West Virginia transition to post-secondary pathways. And I will say that Mrs. Rabb and the two guidance counselors, Mrs. Dorsey, which is the freshman, sophomore counselor, Mrs. Knight, which is the junior, senior counselor, have worked very, very hard in working towards these accomplishments. And so this award, as you can see, is very well deserved for Nicholas County High School. And so we're proud of their accomplishments. We're proud of what they've done this past year, and I just wanted to recognize them and have the board recognize them as well.
Would they like to say something?
We won last year too.
And I will say that Richwood High School won last year as well.
Yes.
These two work very hard.
Thank you.
Very hard to get all this done.
That's awesome.
And we have great support.
Yes,
We're
yes.
appreciative. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Well,
Thank you.
Well, thank all three of you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir. Hey, Ms. Rath, come back up here and let's get a picture.
Kim, do you want to take a picture of it? Yeah.
Where's our photographer? Who's our photographer?
Yeah, we're awesome.
Oh,
She just
Got a guess.
she kind of got roped in by accident. I just happened to notice her with a nice camera.
never bring a camera.
That's all right. Like a Napoleon here.
Y'all come right in the middle.
Yeah, you're right. Behind us, please.
You're the important.
Oh, I guess I should, yeah.
Okay. I see everybody. And let me do two just in case. Okay. Thank you.
Be safe.
Thanks.
Okay, that brings us to action items. And we're going to go ahead and just, we will do these one at a time. Okay. So A, motion to reconsider Mr. Moose's motion, seconded by Mr. Ferguson, and vote made on October 2nd, 2023 on the Masonic Cornerstone. So, that was a unanimous motion, so anyone can bring that back up.
Okay, I think I brought it back up.
Okay?
So you want him to be first, because this will be a vote, right?
Could be.
Could be.
And the reason I brought it back up, all the information I've read on the group is that they are a religious group. Now, I didn't see it in this information here, but the internet information and some other pamphlets I've read, they say that they are religious. And I was concerned about the separation of
Church and state.
yeah, church and state. And I know in our schools, we do not allow other religious organizations to pass out information or pamphlets. And of course, if you got a cornerstone, there's present 360 days a year or whatever, and you know, it kind of represents a religious group, I think. And I, want to re-vote on, that's up to whoever, whatever you all think. I just believe it's not hardly separating church and state here.
I'd like to hear more from Mr. Lauk on this regard before a motion's made, see what he says about this. When this was brought up, he said the setting of the cornerstone, he had done that on the old Nicholas County High School in 1913, and they set cornerstones on schools across the state along with churches across the state. So I'm not going to rescind my motion until I hear more from Mr. Lyon.
Well, I did a little bit of reading about the Masonic Lodge myself today, just to educate myself a little bit. And the one thing that I noticed, it said that the Masonic, to be a member of that lodge, you had to believe in a supreme being, in a supreme God, but not a particular God. In other words, it's not a religion like the Baptists or the Methodists. The Masonics are not one of those sects. But they also talked about, I read a little farther, and it talked about the Shriners, who, everybody think the Shriners do great, great work, and they are Masons. But Masons aren't necessarily Shriners. And so it's, I understand Mr. Berry's concern, and I respect that. I don't think it's a religious group in itself. I think they have to believe in God in order to become a Mason. Now, that's what I got out of it. Now, I may be incorrect, I hope I'm not, but that's the way I read it today. So when Kim found this, I had her to make copies for everybody to look over it. And Mr. Moose is correct. I know in Pocahontas County, when I was over there, the old high school it was the ward office then, and the new high school's got it, and I think it's pretty much a formality that the Masons are allowed to do that. Doesn't mean that's necessarily the right decision for us, but I think it's pretty much an accepted practice. And that's all I'll say.
This cornerstone that's pictured, is that what would look like? Would it have the Mason word temple and stuff in it on our school?
I think they're all pretty consistent.
I didn't know exactly what it was going to look like.
Yeah.
I have a picture of what you gave. We don't have the Masonic symbol in the middle with the gates.
That's the word temple.
But that's being key with the Shriners.
Yeah.
They have that.
Yeah, I think there's several groups. The ladies' organization of the Masonic Lodge is Star. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just for the ladies.
So we can table this, but if we table it, we have to take action on it next time.
I can call Mr. Locke and have him come back.
Well, I can just rescind my vote and have it taken care of, however you want to do it. I mean, I just think, from what I've read, I see a conflict, okay? And maybe there's not, I don't know. Maybe it's an accepted conflict, I don't know.
When are we talking about this ceremony taking place? When the construction of the new school, the pre-8, is that what this is for? Is it for the construction of the new school?
Both sides.
Yeah, at Richwood and here. So we're talking, when they open, is that 2 years? Or they lay it now because the building's going on? Or Richwood would be the first. They'd lay it, so it'd be Richwood would come up within the next year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And then
Okay. Maybe
builders
quicker.
will
Go ahead.
lay.
Go ahead.
They're not going to necessarily lay that block themselves, but they want to have the ceremony prior to, and then whenever the builders get to that point, wherever it is, height-wise, on that northern corner, then they will set that stone in. But the ceremony would take place prior to.
And they don't, the ceremony could be anywhere, right? Is that
They
my
would like
understanding?
for it to be on the site.
So if Mr. Berry would like to rescind his vote, do we have to,
I don't think so.
do we have to go back to that motion?
Probably the cleanest way would be to go back.
I've done that before, and we didn't go back, but I don't,
We didn't go back, you rescinded your vote before, we didn't go back over the whole thing.
no.
Just,
Would you like him to come back and go back over it, or?
no,
You'd have to do it on the 20th. You'd have to come back on the 20th.
yeah, I don't think that's necessary.
You'd just like the record to show that you voted against it?
Yeah. That, I think there's a
Can we
conflict
do
here.
that, or do they
Well,
need to revote?
I think you really, because the agendas have already been approved,
You have,
that, so in order to have a clean record now, you really need to make a motion to reconsider, which is that first motion, and then that's A. And then B is you would just have a second motion to do it, and then you would vote nay on that motion.
okay.
You'd vote yay on motion A, and then if you wanted to rescind your vote on motion B, is what you're going to vote nay on.
Correct.
And anybody else that would want to do that too.
So do we have a motion to reconsider Mr. Moose's motion, which was seconded by Mr. Ferguson, and the vote made on October 2nd on 2023 on the Masonic Cornerstone?
Before we make that motion, just make one point of order, for lack of a better word. I don't think I need to abstain, but my father was a Mason, and he was trying to be a Mason. And with that in mind, I'm going to vote forward, so I should be able to vote correct. Or sure.
I think
Okay.
so.
Okay.
See, you're not a part of the organization, so.
No,
So do y'all want to reconsider the motion? So somebody needs to make a motion to reconsider.
Make a motion.
So Mr. Green makes a motion to reconsider Mr. Moose's motion, which was seconded by Mr. Ferguson.
Who's
The
on
vote made on
first?
October 2nd, 2023 on the Masonic Cornerstone. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
So Mr. Ferguson seconds. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay. Now B, is there any other discussion with action on Masonic Cornerstone ceremony? Would anybody like to make that, or do you want more discussion?
No, it's not a personal thing with anybody, you know. I mean, I know Charlie most of his life, you know. And it's, I see a conflict, so.
Well, if there's no other discussion, do we have a motion on the Masonic Cornerstone ceremony?
I remake my initial motion
Okay, so
to
you make a
allow them
motion to allow
to
the set the...
place that cornerstone and have their ceremony.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Green. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. So please, hey. that's-
Mr. Perry, I totally respect that.
Yeah,
I respect your opinion. I understand totally. And you may be right. I guess what.
That's
You're
everything
fine.
I can find.
You're fine.
We're good.
They told themselves.
Okay, so C, motion motion to reconsider Mr. Berry's motion, second by Mr. Green, and vote made on September 5th, 2023, to donate the Mudley School property to the Kathleen and John Faltus Children's Shelter. Which, what happened on that, we cannot donate that property to them because they are not,
501(c)(3).
Yeah,
Okay.
501c3 nonprofit.
you're right. Well, it has to be a
Government agency.
agency. So, we've got to reconsider that. So, do we have a motion to reconsider?
I'll make a motion to reconsider.
Okay, so Mr. Ferguson makes a motion to reconsider Mr. Berry's motion, second by Mr. Green, on the vote on September 5th, 2023, to donate the Mudley School property to the Kathleen and John Faltus Children's Shelter. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Green. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion unanimous. Now, D, discussion with possible action on donating the Mudley School property to the Nicholas County Building Authority. So, if we would like, I've already talked to the building authority, if we would like to donate this property to the John and Kathleen Faltus Shelter, which is actually the Children's Home Society of West Virginia, if we want to do that, we'd have to donate it to our Nicholas County Building Authority, and they, in turn, can turn around and donate it to them. And we can sign all the paperwork at the lawyer's office at the same time. So do we have or is there any other discussion on that?
They've agreed to that. Everybody's agreed to it. Everything's
Yes.
okay. Okay. I'll make the motion.
Now, the only drawback on this,
Oh,
the only drawback is, we were going to put a clause on that to revert that back to us. But since we're giving that to the Nicholas County Building Authority,
Go back to that.
they could put a clause in there, but we can't, because it won't be ours.
I'm fine with that. I think the building authority will get the foster shelter and then,
Okay.
I mean,
All right, so Mr. Moose makes a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Green. So the motion is that we donate the old Mudley School property to the Nicholas County Building Authority. We have a motion by Mr. Moose, second by Mr. Green. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, unanimous. E, discussion on donating the Richwood High School commemorative park or the walking trail. Now,
It's just a discussion.
yes, this is just a discussion.
So that we didn't have the same thing happen again.
Ma'am?
So that we didn't have the same thing happen again. Kelly suggested it would just be discussion.
Kelly's a pretty smart lady, but don't tell her I said that. You know, I'll speak up. I was all in favor of donating that to somebody, but the more I think about it, if the plaza, in a few years, that lease is up on that plaza. And so if somebody that owns that plaza, if they would take that and do whatever with it, they may block all the parking for Richwood High School football and Richwood Middle School football and track meets and all that. So I don't know if we should donate it or not. I know it is extra work on the maintenance to mow it.
Now,
That's my
does
opinion.
that include the area where the high school set? Or
Yes.
just where the middle?
That's
is
the
all
whole,
the green
that's the whole
area?
property.
Yeah, okay.
It's the whole property.
the walking trail doesn't go around that whole property, right? It's
Just right up there.
it's just right there. That's the walking trail. I thought that's what you were
I
considering
thought
giving
that's what we were
anyway.
talking about too, just walk the.
Were we considering
Part of
giving
it.
all the property where the whole high school was to another nonprofit?
All the way up
Originally,
where the
It's,
paved parking lot is up by the red gym, keeping the paved parking lot. But that's the idea for the red gym.
I wouldn't think. it was-
well, I'm in agreement to hold it too. I thought we were just
I mean,
talking
this
about
can
the
always-
walking trail.
Oh,
I thought
no, I was
we-
talking about the
Oh,
whole piece
okay,
of
I
property.
just misunderstood that.
and we can always at any time, you know,
Do it back on the
do it later.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion for now. I don't know if we want to rush into that. Now, the only thing is, we told her, there was a document, who showed me that?
Green space.
There was a document that said that we would turn that over to somebody by November such and such, which I think is already passed.
Was that the FEMA? Was that in agreement with FEMA? The
Um,
document, you think of that? Or the one,
I
Chris?
thought that only included the walking trail, not the rest of the property.
Your treasurer's one that had showed me that.
Kristen,
Yeah, Chris.
she's not here.
She said you could email her if you needed to ask.
Chris, you know on that?
I don't think we had to. I mean, I don't think there was a document that said we had to. I think it said we could. That was the minimum date because it was so many. We had to retain it for so many years after it was completed. I think it was 3 years. I don't even know if it was completed after it was started. I know there was 3 years that we had to retain it, and I think that was the date we couldn't get rid of it before, which I could be wrong. But the other stipulations, when they did that, the stipulations was that the school area and the floodway, no matter what, has to remain a green area. You can't pave it, you can't gravel it, you can't do anything. And we had to retain it for so long. That's the only stipulations that I recall on that property. But it was 3 years, I know 3 years.
You just don't know if it was 3 years.
I don't know if
from the
it was what day that 3 years was from that we had to retain it from.
Well, I think what date she sent me, we're already past it, so.
Yeah, that's why I think we're past that date as well. But we don't, it never, I don't ever remember it saying we had to get rid of it. It said we couldn't before so many years. And
Yeah,
then
I was
it
thinking-
always had to be a green zone because that walking trail was actually designed to encompass that whole area where the school was. And then FEMA came back and said, no, you're not allowed to pave, you're not allowed to do anything in the
Floodway.
floodway. So that's when it got shrunk back down to just the middle school site because it's just in the floodplain and not the floodway.
I don't think it was stipulated that we had to give it to anybody.
I don't think we had to get rid of it. I think we wasn't allowed to get rid of it for so long.
I think it was option if we wanted to, maybe.
Yeah, they said we could after 3 years.
But that high school, where the high school site is, that's big enough to, if you want to use it for a practice field, or if you want to line.
I think a lot of that would
line
have to
or
be,
something.
I mean, I'm not saying you couldn't use it, but I know in all 3 schools was demolition that they wasn't left, that ground was not left in pristine condition. So I would caution whoever wants to practice there because there may be some rocks or metal or something left in that.
Yeah.
You can't build anything in it, you really can't use it, you can mow it.
That's pretty much, it had to remain a green zone
It's a
forever.
shame they couldn't put some kind of, but if you can't, you can't, some kind of monument or something to the school or.
Well, so that's what, the
That's
walking trail has monuments
Yeah,
in
it's
it.
for the school. I
And that
think.
was the idea, like we was gonna put where the office was and, just really do that up really nice. But after FEMA came back and said you can't do that, that's kind of what we got.
I know Mr. Green's been working on this for a while. I'd like to hear what you say.
I think we need to keep it for a while,
Sounds good.
because I know they're practicing there a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, especially on the middle school
Side
side.
field, yeah.
Right.
That's why I say you should put lime on that,
Would we add dirt to it to cover up, maybe a little field dirt to
I
cover up
don't,
that?
so that is
rock?
something you're gonna have to talk to the floodplain commission about in Richwood, because that's the whole idea why you cannot add gravel or anything, because when you add gravel to that, it changes the H&H study, and it raises the level of the river, and
I've got the 550-page book on that.
yeah, so, I mean, I'm not saying that you can't, but I'm saying that I would check with people that is okay with it, before I did it.
Okay, thank you. So, let's move on. Approval of the crisis plan MOU for Nicholas County High School.
Okay, every school has to design a reunification plan in case there's an emergency situation at their school. This type of MOU should not be read orally to the public.
Right, because it tells where.
Because it tells where the kids would be evacuated to and so forth. This is just Nicholas County High School's version of their plan.
And that was on our,
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I thought, we don't want to do this, do we?
Right.
no.
We just want to approve it.
Okay, so,
Is this the same one we've had, or they've had for?
I
think it's pretty close.
There's always a few more adjustments.
Yeah,
They're pretty much the same thing. They always do.
It's working, so far it's working.
So do we have a motion on the approval of the crisis plan MOU for Nicholas County High School?
So moved.
Mr. Ferguson makes a motion, seconded by
Second.
Mr. Moose. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Unanimous. G, discussion with possible action on the Richwood floodplain permit.
Okay, this, you have it in your packet, and I asked Chris to actually, he was on the phone with Mike Hall from Skanska to get a little more information about this. I've asked Chris to explain, go over the discussion that he had with Mike.
I just wanted to call him and make sure that I was correct, because, so the original floodplain permit was, it covered the parking lot, the, removing the debris, basically all of the earthwork of getting ready to build. And now that we are getting ready to come out of the ground with the building, we have to have, the city is asking for us to get a construction permit. Well, they can't issue us a construction permit without a renewal of the the floodplain permit. So, according to legislation and law that we've been through, this construction permit should be feeless, but it's still just part of the process that has to be completed. So, you're just basically renewing what we already had in place. It's so that we can get a construction permit for the city of Richwood to start coming out of the ground with the building.
And they're getting close.
Yeah.
They're close. Yep. They're got interior footers done and got a lot of,
Yeah.
they've probably got 200 pilings drilled and filled full of concrete. If you guys haven't got to see that, it's pretty neat process.
Well, and I was by there and I noticed on the opposite side of the road, they had a bunch of mortar, I believe, covered up, ready to
Ready to
lay
start
some
laying
blocks.
some block. Yeah, they've laid some interior block, but now that we're starting to go out exterior, we need that permit.
So 80,000 blocks. What is it?
Yeah, I'm surprised it wasn't ICF, but they chose to go with blocks. You're adding on 60,000, 60 or 70,000 square feet is what the addition is.
It's laid on top.
That's a lot of blocks.
Thank you.
You know, they were working, they were working till dark one day when I was past there, and then they worked Saturday.
And the borough go on all day.
They were trying to catch up.
So do we have a motion on the Richwood floodplain permit? Mr. Green makes a motion to renew that. Is that what your motion is, sir? Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. H is discussion with possible action on the CEFP amendment regarding Summersville Middle School, Glade Creek Elementary, and Summersville Elementary School.
Of course, as I mentioned earlier today, this is not a closure motion. This is just a motion that we have to pass the CEFP here before the state board can pass it on Wednesday, and before the SBA can approve it next Monday, so that we can move forward with our process. There's nothing new to what we've been doing. It's the same plan that we've been looking at.
So do we vote on that again, or?
Yeah, and we need to have it in our minutes that we approved it on tonight. I've already actually sent them a letter stating that it would be approved on the November 6th board meeting, so I'll pass that. So we can have that meeting with the State Department.
I'll make a motion that we amend the CFP.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. And moving right along to consent items, finance.
She sent these out earlier.
And we can text her or email her. She's just not able to talk.
I did not see anything, but anybody else?
My only question to her wasn't relevant, and this was the process you go through of selecting which buses to change out and stuff, because we're spending some money. And she explained it to me, and that was the only question I had on anything.
Okay. So no discussion or no questions on payment of current invoices, and then we'll move to contracts. Bluebird Bus Sales, 177 passenger special education bus and 277 passenger conventional school buses.
And we'll tell you what, Christian Bowman, you all probably already knew this, but I didn't, whatever. There's a special fund for bus replacement that the state museum allocates, and they keep that money separate, and they go in and out of it. And actually, we've been able to save money the last couple of years, and it's in there, so there wasn't any problem having the money available, and it really didn't affect the budget, so.
Yeah, I think
That
they
was
allow
my
you
question.
2 buses a year, maybe, or they have in the past.
Yeah, so I guess when the buses we would take out of service, you either give them to another county to work, and most of the time they don't work much, or you auction.
Don't get much for me.
Yeah.
Well, and what you get into if you don't renew them, if you don't buy new buses every year or two, you can get into a real mess with your fleet being.
Yes, that's what I was concerned about, yeah.
So you're better off to buy 1 or 2 or 3.
Yeah, take them in and out. So now I was, I guess Alan was, kind of selects them and, talks with them and stuff, so. And I was very satisfied on their process of how they do that.
How many buses will we ordered in the last year or 2?
I think we ordered 2, this would be 5. These 3 would make 5.
Generally, we order about 2 a year.
Yeah.
Generally.
Okay, out-of-state travel request. Any questions on any of those?
Did the band have to have a out-of-state travel?
They will have to, it'll be on the 20th 20th agenda, because they don't leave till the 25th or something.
Oh, you talking about Richwood?
Right.
Yeah, it'll be on the agenda. for the
Yeah, they
20th.
found out
Came in
later.
too late.
Yeah. They're,
November 1st when they found out.
yeah, and our agenda was already, it was too late to change it.
Yeah, I knew it just came out.
There's some minor things on here like, total cost of trip, but I'm sure that can all be amended and corrected, can't it? Well, it won't make any difference.
Shouldn't.
Which one are you looking at?
Tom Bayless says total cost of trip $241.50, but that's the per diem rate. And it's also under Alex Melanese, same thing, but just minor correction.
Yeah, so that was written, Mr. Drew says, just the reimbursement rate. The hotel, flights and stuff are all being reimbursed. So that form was just for reimbursement. Everything else we paid for the P card. For BPO to pay for the P card.
Oh, that's all in the bid?
That's just the reimbursement rate.
Oh, okay.
All the hotels, flights, and registrations paid for through a P card. So those aren't being reimbursed to individuals. Those will be paid for.
Being paid for through the system.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for that clarification, Mr. Bayless. Anything else? Okay, well, that was a good question. I didn't see it. All right, do we have a motion to accept the consent items, finance 1 and 2, payment of current invoices, contracts, which includes the Bluebird bus sales, 177 passenger special education bus, 277 passenger conventional school bus, and then out-of-state travel request 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. We have a motion to accept those.
I'll make the motion.
Mr. Green makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Moose. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Unanimous? Personnel.
There's nothing new that she has to read.
Everything's right here.
Just right.
Everything is right here.
It's getting smaller.
It is, I'm glad. We did strike the community and schools, and we plan on bringing them back to you on November 20th for that agenda.
Just a reminder, I will not be here on November 20th, but Mrs. White's will be running the board meeting, so I know that's our next board meeting. Next Saturday. That's regular board meeting. She'll be taking care of that then.
Okay, anybody have any concerns on the personnel agenda? Mr. Ferguson, you might have to
You abstain?
abstain
I
on
got
the,
two on there.
yeah, on the approving the volunteers. I don't know, does he have to do that?
I wouldn't think so. Lee,
What relationship?
I have a wife and a daughter, so
on the volunteer list?
They're not going to receive any compensation.
So, no?
You won't have to.
Good.
There you go.
So I threatened my wife I was going to strike.
You better vote for
That was her last orders as I walked out of the house. Don't you really strike me?
Okay, do we have a motion to accept the personnel agenda?
it. Motion to accept.
Seconded by
Second.
Mr. Berry. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. SESC, Mr. Ferguson, of course, Mr. Bean took care
Yeah,
of
I was,
that, right?
yes, I was not able to attend, but
Okay.
Terrence said he would attend.
All right, Bright Horizons, Mr. Green.
Everything's going very well up there. I mean, we still have 2 Richwood students going there about every day, so. And I've talked to Chris, maybe get a few iPads up there or something, our old ones, and we'll see what we can work out. Everything's going great.
Okay, thank you.
The students are from where, Richwood High School?
They sell water.
Yeah, they still sell water.
Used to.
13, items for future agendas.
I don't know if it's an item, but I don't know when Kelly's ready or whatever to discuss some of the coaching salaries and how are we going to do that? Are we doing that in a work session or?
I think, yeah, in the spring, we need to invite the coaches and the athletic directors and just, have a work session. We should do it before budget, when Kristen, Mrs. Eckel is working on the budget so that we can plan appropriately.
So we might not want to wait till spring,
It'll be late winter probably,
January.
like maybe February. January should be a real busy month. We start with our business.
Anything else for items for future agendas?
Yeah, I don't know whether it would work or it's appropriate or not, but the Richwood High School band, it's going to cost them about, they estimate $34,000. Now, they're doing their best to raise the money, and most of it will be by donation because they had such short notice. I'd like to have a discussion on whether we can help them out if they come up short at that time. I don't know if we can or not.
I mean, the board has the authority.
Board has authority, the only thing is that opens up a can of worms. And I'm all for them going, but if you give to one.
Well, if it's deserving, then I'm willing to give to anybody.
Well, I
If they need it, then
But the
it's
definition
deserving.
of what's deserving.
Yeah.
Comes up.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm not for them going, I'm 100% for them going. And I think it's not.
And we may not have to do anything, they may have it all. But, could we put that on the agenda just in case? And we can always strike it, can't we? Or would you rather not have it on the agenda at all?
I just think you open yourself up for, this team comes and says, hey, we have a chance to go to, this or that, or cheerleading or basketball, or,
I'll tell you another thing too, and I don't want anybody to get this wrong, because I think it's awesome that they did that. My sister was a majorette in that band, and where it was under Mr. Pratt, so it has nothing to do with that. This world is so different now than it was 20 or 30 years ago. And there was 100,000 protesters in D.C. at the White House. and a few years ago, that one kid that wore a MAGA hat or whatever got all these millions of dollars because he was on a school trip, and then remember he got in with the native Indian. I don't remember. It's just a different world. So it just takes one incident. I know you can't leave your life in fear, and I'm definitely not one that does that. But these Ohio State trips, they scare me a little bit. I'll be quite frank with you. But I'm glad they get to go. I'm sure they'll be well chaperoned. But it is a different world out there now. That's one of my comments.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in that crowd that hate people who don't look like them,
Well, there were 100,000 protesters right at the White House on the fence where they're going. That's weird.
Well,
But I don't know that I don't remember ever funding a group for trips like that. I mean, I certainly, it's an honor to go, you know.
Are they taking school buses? Will they take school, or are they charter?
Charter.
They're going
Charter.
Yeah, that's expensive, there's no doubt about that. They'll need, what, 4 or 5?
Three, at least three, then,
Probably 4.
yeah, 45 volunteers going too, so should have.
You know, they have to have at least 8.
Well, one thing that we've asked him to do is to present us a list of the chaperones going, because I got wind of the fact that in the past, they had sent in names that was going to go on the trip, and those chaperones had not been approved by the board yet, so there's no background checks on any of those people and all that, so I sent a thing to Mr. Williams today, and I said, I won't approve the trip unless I get a list of the chaperones, and they're approved by the board. And it takes a while. You can't just send your name and say, well, I approve it. No, it goes through a vetting process, and so I'm hoping they pick from the ones that's already been approved.
Well, they need to be made aware of, anybody in this county, if they deceive the board, then they won't be going anywhere. I
Well,
don't care if it's the band or football team or whatever.
we have had to reject some volunteers based on their records.
I understand.
And so we don't want them on our school buses. I can just imagine the uproar that would cause if they found out we had someone of poor character supervising our kids on an overnight trip to DC. So we are aware of the trip, and I agree with Steve. I'm 100% for this, for them to get to do this. It's a great honor. But we got to be careful.
What was the,
It's very soon after our board meeting.
3 days after or so.
28, I think.
28. It's a weekend. It's a week.
See if they don't get the volunteers in.
Well, Mrs. Lights will ask them to have the volunteers to us by the 15th, because the board agenda has to go out. So we will be able to come to you and say, we've checked, all the chaperones are legit.
I know they've done a very good job of getting it out to the alumni on their social media and stuff. So I had several people from Charleston and even other states tell me, and, you know, hey, you're probably aware of this, I really wasn't aware of it, so they like me or whatever. So they're doing a pretty good job, so hopefully that fundraising will come through for them.
And if there's any names that they are wanting to go as chaperones, we need those long before the 15th. Like, we need to know tomorrow or the next day.
And you still may not get those names back.
Because it takes us anywhere from 6 and sometimes 10 days.
They should have
to
already
get
had their
those reports
volunteers.
back.
They should have already had their volunteers.
Well, something like this may bring out other folks that want to attend, so.
And you know, you can't keep anybody from going in their private vehicle and being up there. But we don't want them being chaperones if they're didn't pass a background check.
They can get back there where the band's gonna be playing at. They'll be on outside the fence if you don't, because the band's not the only ones that'll get back there in the back, because it's gonna be fenced in. They gotta go through security to get in the play.
Anything else for future agendas?
To get to go behind the fence. They have to send them a list of who's attending, so that they can be approved before they get there.
Okay, future meeting dates, special LSIC meeting next Tuesday, November 14th at Richwood Middle School, starting at 5 p.m. Note that change, 5 p.m. Most of the time the public.
Okay, tell this old guy what an LSIC meeting is.
Local School Improvement Council.
Local School Improvement, I got you. Okay. I actually served on one of those. Couldn't remember.
5 p.m. I got, wait a minute, I got, make sure I get that.
it might even still be daylight, might.
I'm glad you,
Barely.
I'm glad you said
And B, regular meeting Monday, November 20th, 2023. Start right here at the central office, starting at 6 o'clock p.m.
There's a chance I may not be at that meeting. I have to go out of town. Right now, I'm planning on being now, just there's a chance I'll find out who he is.
Okay, do we have anything else?
We plan on loading up the LSIC board presentations the afternoon of Thursday the 9th. So you'll have those to preview in your teams,
Okay.
the data that they're going to go over.
I did have a question, this is just maybe, who's, Mr. Hanshaw, or Ms. Weitzel, who's taking care of our Facebook?
There's several of us that does it. Sarah has some people that, is it Sarah Kuiper put some stuff on there. We're working with Sarah Miles to start putting some publicity stuff on there. So she puts some stuff on there, I put some stuff on there, so it's just a mixture of us.
I just wondered.
Where I put we're trying to get more subs, custodians, aides, and cooks. The last time.
Bus drivers?
Excuse me?
Bus drivers?
Well, that's separate, yeah. We had, the past 2 weekends, we had bus driver training. But when we posted for sub aides, cooks, and custodians, we had several people apply. And on the posting, we put the date that we were going to give the testing. Well, come that date, only a few of them showed up. So we kind of reversed it this time. On the 9th, we're going to have testing. So we put out for anybody interested in testing to come here on the 9th for cooks, custodians, and aides. And then after they test, we're going to have them apply. So we're hoping we will be able to have more success that way.
Me and Steve went out, Chris, and seen some new lighting that's possible from the new schools. You can Nicholas County High School and look at it. I think it might save us money down the road.
Could save you 20 to 30%, about $250,000 on installation.
Around the
20 or
buildings
30%.
Inside.
It's in one of the, well, it's not the LED, it's just a new, it's a lower voltage wiring. You don't have to have a certified electrician to run the wire. There's a room in Nicholas County High School that it's going to still be there. And the architect was Chris Campbell. He was pretty impressed with it. He's coming back up with his team to review it again, but it's just a new, it's a lower voltage wiring. You don't use the copper and the.
You save on the wiring.
Yes.
Basically.
Well, you'll say going forward on the 20 to 30%. In fact, Rick asked, and I thought it was a good question. Are we too far along to do the Richwood? And it was the consensus we probably are. But it's definitely something you want to look at. Yeah, because of the change order with the.
They'd already bought all the cables and all the lights.
Yeah, it was in the bid.
Well, they already bought them.
Yeah, they've already bought them and they're probably stored somewhere.
Right.
And that would be the problem. But if it's interesting to go look at it,
Yeah.
it's kind of interesting because it's new. It's, you hate to be a guinea pig on it.
It's good, I like it.
Chris really was sold on it.
Yeah, I tried to get them to do it from the beginning, but the technology's really came along in the last 3 or 4 years.
The power does.
Okay, Mr. Bean thought of something.
Yeah, it's unusual, isn't it?
I didn't say that.
I talked to Mr. Bates about this today. I would like, at some point, I'd like to do it this year, this spring, is maybe either reschedule one of our regular board meetings, or if we have to schedule a work session to work on some things, do it at the vocational center, and allow him to show us the different programs prior to that meeting. So if we don't get a chance to go over there and spend as much time, but I'd like to do it during the day when the kids were there, and you could see some of the stuff's going on at that vocational center. So I asked him if he would be okay with that, and he was excited about having the opportunity to have a board meeting at his vocational building. Of course, we'd have to move the time to the middle of the day in order to be able to see the students, but we could either do it a regular meeting, or we could do a work session over there and then just visit the school and then get into our work session. What's your thoughts?
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I think a work session maybe and not have to be distracted by.
Well, we're going to be having a work session, aren't we, Mr. Weissel?
Yeah.
Anything else? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Barry makes a motion to adjourn, seconded by? Mr. Green,
Get all you want.
I had one.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous at 7:34.